Right. So you're getting, it's your purple deliverable. So if you can see this deliverable right here, this one from like the first day, we're going to where it says overview and vocabulary. Overview and vocabulary. So we're on that last part of this. All of them are in that basket up here. So all of them at this point that were in the red have been graded.
The data is
Yes, so we're on that. We're first starting with overview and vocabulary.
we didn't even do the calculator.
Yeah, I didn't do that. All right, so first we're going to start with what are joint frequencies and what are marginal frequencies. So joint frequencies, so I'm on the last page of the foldable, like the very last part of it. And so right here, joint frequencies are like joints in your body, right? So joint frequencies are what holds the data together. They're the actual data. They're like the joints, the bones of the data. So all of the different things, like if I walk around and say, what color do you like? And two girls say pink. That would be your data, right? So like here are the different data points when I walked around for the amount of people that asked or answered a certain question. That's your actual data. So your joint frequencies is basically your actual data. And so right here, we're going to write down all the numbers. So it's 2, 6, 5, 2, 4, 2, 7, and 4. So joint just means all the data that we collected, basically.
So where's all the data? So these are all the data?
Yeah, so actual data, so all the data that you actually accumulate. And so marginal, what is margins of a paper?
The borders.
Like the borders, right? So the borders except this one right here. So the borders right here, like your totals, except the overall total, is called your marginal frequency. So it's like the margins of a paper. So the margins of your data. And so those numbers would be 6, 8, 12, 6, 15, and 17. Okay, so now we're going to practice like when we would actually use this. So you're going to where it says two-way frequency table and opening it up. So it looks like this right here. Is that the wrong? There we go. Example 8, so that should be at the top. So it says Jenny surveyed 100 of her classmates on hair and eye color, right? And so we're trying to find basically the missing values. So we're on the top where it says example 8, and it's where it's two-way frequency tables. That's what these are called. And so first of all, let's look at this row right here. We have 18 blonde, 9 brunette, but altogether there's 28 total. How would I find how many people are missing the red? Subtract. So let's add, what's 9 plus 18? 20 what? 7. And then what's the difference between 27 and 28? 1. So there's one redhead with blue eyes. So you're just kind of finding the missing value. So right here, we have 1 plus 5, which is what? 6. And then, so what would have to be added to it to get a total of 12? Another 6. So you're just kind of finding the missing values. So it's like a puzzle. So 28 and 31 right here needs to add to 100. How do we figure out what the missing value is? Yeah, 28 plus 39, or 31, which is 59. And what's 100 minus 59? 41. And so now it helps us get this total. So we know that these have to add up to 41, right? So what's 23 plus 5? 28, right? And so what's the difference between 41 and 28? 13. And so we're just kind of finding we're doing it, it's like a puzzle. So now, right here would be 16, because we would add these up to get 32 and subtract it. So now we can get this one right here, which ends up being 9, and then we add all these together to get 40. And so right here, you should add this row up and the column up, and they should all get you 100. So like if you add these 3 numbers up, it should get you 100, and when you add these 3 numbers, it should get you the same answer, 100. That's how you know you did it correctly. So which numbers are considered your joint frequencies? 18. Beautiful. All the numbers of like the hair color and the eye color. What's considered your marginal frequencies? Good. And put that total. So all the margins of your data, it's like that. That's not considered marginal. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. The other way it may look is like the next one. So example 9. Does everyone have this down? Yeah. Okay. So example 9, they are giving you what percentage of each student had a cat or a dog. So it says in the survey of 150 students. So right here, what would I be putting down right here? 150, right? 40% of them have a cat. So 40% of them have a cat. How would I figure out what 40% of 150 is? Well, first, let's put 40% into a decimal. How would I put 40% into a decimal? 0.4. So you move it twice to 0.4. What does of mean? Multiply. Times 150. So when they're asking for a percentage of something, of, remember, means multiply. And so when you do that, let me know what you guys get.
60.
You end up getting 60. So that means 60 of these 150 had a cat. And so 60 had a cat. How many didn't have a cat? There's 150 total.
90.
Then it says, of the students that have a cat, so out of this row, 60% also have a dog. So now we're looking at this 60, right? Because there's 60 people. And 60% of them have a dog. So how would I find 60% of 60?
0.6 times 60.
Yep, 0.6 or 0.60 times 60. Yeah, and you end up getting 6. And now you find the missing one. So what do you end up getting? 24.
Then you put what?
So 36 plus 1 equals 60. What did you say? Okay. Of the students that do not have a cat, so of these students, of these 90, 80% have a dog. So how would I put 80% as a decimal? 0.8, and then what would I put between them? Multiply by 10. What do you end up getting? 77 or 72. Cool. So 72 have a dog. And now you're going to just be finding the missing values. So how do you figure out how far away is 72 from 90? How much do I need to add to it? Yep. And so then what's the total here when I add these? 42. From here? And these both should get you 150. So 90 plus 60, yep, 150. Yep. This plus that, yep, 150. So we got it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the blue is known as your what? Joint frequencies. And what's the besides 150? What's these purple ones? Marginal. Okay, so that's a note. We're just going to go over a few examples together, and then I'll let you guys practice on your own. So we're going to go to right here. And so our data is sometimes split So sometimes we have categorical data, and sometimes we have quantitative data. And so I'm on your packet, right under the do. Yeah, right under the do now, I'm on your packet. So if I say categorical, that would be like categories, right? So that would be like dog and cat, or eye color, or job, or do you prefer to watch this show or that show? So categorical has to do with categories or descriptions of groups. And so our two-way frequency tables usually have to do with categorical data. So are you this or are you that? Or would you prefer this or that? So two-way frequencies are more so towards categories. As of the dot plots and the box plots and all that, that's quantitative because that has to do with numerical values, like your salaries and things like that. So that has to do with like the box plots, dot plots. What do you say? Histograms. And categorical is more two-way frequencies. So quantitative has to do with like numbers, like when we were learning like how many siblings you had, and we could say, okay, 30 siblings would probably be an outlier. That was called now quantitative data because it was numbers. But categorical is what we're focusing on more so today. That's like, okay, would you rather have a dog or a cat? And so you're comparing different categories. And so that's called two-way frequency tables. So two-way frequency tables consists of linked numerical observations or frequencies of categories. Two-way frequency tables. I know I write pretty big. You can write a 2. That's what I did. And so we already learned this. Joint frequencies are joints that hold. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm bad with the lines. So joint frequencies, joints that hold the data together through your actual data. Marginal is the margins of the data. And the totals of each row. I know. There we go. And so the last thing we're going to go over is conditional frequencies. So conditional frequencies depend on the question being asked. And so that was like when we were talking about this now, like out of the people who had cats, how many people have dogs? So it's like out of this, what was the situation? That's called conditional frequencies. I'll be working with that a little bit. Categorical data was just based on categories. So different categories that we're going to be working with. So like this would be like, what is the chance that out of all the males, I would pick a student in yearbook club? So when you see that word out of, we're just looking at the total of that. So the total of the males, what is the total of the males? 78. And so out of the males, which are, the total males are 78, what if I pick someone from yearbook? So how many males in yearbook? 28, and you would divide them in your calculator. So 28 divided by the 78. That would be like a conditional frequency. And what do you guys end up getting? 0.3589. 3589, so 0.36. And how would I write that as a percentage? 36%. So they'll either have it as a decimal and they'll keep it that way, or they'll turn it to a percent. And that's our main lesson for today. It's not really sure. I'm sure. So, do you guys feel like you're okay to try a few on your own? Or do you want to do more with me?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to have my answer key up there, and you could try more on your own. 1 second. When you're done, what you're going to be doing is your IXL. I want to make sure you guys understand this because I don't want you guys doing the wrong IXL. And so your IXL homework for today, listen up because I don't want you guys doing the wrong IXL. Let me find this. IXL. And so, let's see what it was. Your IXL is actually not in Algebra 1, but it's in Algebra 2. So right here, see where it says Algebra 2?
Yes.
So you're clicking on that, or we'll say level M, and you're going to CC 11.
We have to do
Well, they didn't have any regular ones. Thank you. Thank you. And so right here, this is all you're doing. It says, what is the probability that a randomly selected student believes that a balloon will stay? So like you're just coming up with the conditional probability. So out of this, how many would say this? And you're just turning it into a fraction. So what is the probability that a randomly selected student believes that a balloon will stay the same at a given point and are uncertain? So it would be 2, and then how many students is there total? So this one has 5, this one has 7. What's 5 plus 7? Right here, 5 plus 7. I'm adding up 12. But it says I need to simplify. So what number goes into 2 and 12? What number goes into 2 and 12? 2. And so what is 2 divided by 12? 6. And what's 2 divided by 2? Oh. I got that one wrong. Okay, let's do one more. What is the probability that a randomly selected student has one sibling, so they have one sibling, given that the student is irresponsible? So how many students are irresponsible total? 6. How many of those have one sibling? 3. Ooh. And so how do I reduce that fraction to 1/2? Okay, we'll do one more. What is the probability that a randomly selected driver has blonde hair? So we're looking, that has blonde hair given that the driver has a red car. So given means out of. So how many have a red car? Total. 11. And out of those, how many are blonde? 6. Can I reduce that fraction? Nope. And that's the IXL that goes with it. So first, I want you to do the notes